Hey everyone, it is Allie Anderson here, and I'm a nutritional therapist. And we are on the Nutritional Therapy Association Facebook page. And I get the honor of talking with Jimmy Moore and Christine Moore. Christine is also a nutritional therapy practitioner. How y'all doing today?
Hey, we're good.
Hey, what's up?
All right, so we are here and we're going to talk a little bit about why we became nutritional therapy practitioners and answer any questions. We do have somebody monitoring our questions who can answer anything, and we can filter through anything. And if you are catching this on the replay, then feel free to go ahead and you can always contact the Nutritional Therapy Association and they can answer any questions for you. So can you guys tell everybody a little bit about you, your history? I know this is something that, Jimmy, you've been in the field for gosh, it's 2005, right?
Yeah, 2005 was when I went on the Atkins diet and changed my life, was 410 pounds and lost weight. And so I was all nerdy out there learning all I could. And meanwhile, Christine was kind of in the background. I know I'm hiding my face. Sorry about that. Nobody wants to look at my face. You want to look at the beautiful, the lovely, the talented Christina Wiener. So, but when it came time that she could learn through the Nutritional Therapy Association, she jumped at the opportunity. And I think you're glad, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm very glad I did. And starting out, I kind of went through the program just to kind of figure out me. You know, I was still struggling with stuff. And I had struggled with stuff for most of my life and didn't make the connection between my food and the things that I was dealing with. And so just going through the Nutritional Therapy Practitioner program just opened my eyes to a lot of things that I hadn't even considered yet. I mean, we just learned so much. And then as a result of that, I felt like I could use this information to help other people who are struggling as well. And so I'm just so thankful that I've had the opportunity to go through the practitioner program.
Well, and the most fascinating thing to me about the program is I've been in this space for a very long time, and Christine was going through the program and I was listening to Greg Graham and all those lectures, and I'm going, why don't I know what a prostaglandin is? Why don't I know what the cholecystokinin is and the inflammatory pathways? These are all really relevant parts of health that I, as a layperson that thought I was pretty darn educated about this stuff, knew nothing about. So highly, highly recommend the NTA.
That's awesome. And I think, Christine, you and I have such a similar story with the fact that it was our own health challenges and that led us to NTA because it was something that we wanted to be able to help ourselves, and then in return, we're going to be able to help others.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember right, the majority of our class, the Herndon class of 2017, yay! Where you were a fabulous group leader, Allie. I think a lot of us in there were in this same boat. We were dealing with health issues that we just couldn't figure out, and it was just a way to maybe kind of get some answers. So yeah, oh man, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really common theme. So can you tell us why you picked to do Nutritional Therapy Practitioner, so the NTP program, over some of the other offerings like NTC that the NTA offers?
Because she's a nerd.
Well, but I wanted to, I thought it was a difficult decision because I knew that the practitioner program was going to be a little bit more intense because of the functional evaluation. But the more I thought about it, even if I don't see clients in person, the times that I do get to see them in person, that's just the functional evaluation and the lingual neurotesting is just an added piece to the puzzle. That, I mean, I have to admit, going into the program, I was very skeptical. I mean, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're telling me that I can press on a reflex point on the body and it will tell me if I'm deficient in something or not. Yeah, right. But when we were doing it in the class and I actually had it done to me, it really does work. I mean, there were my one of my hot points was the HCl point. That was just always like a 9 or 10. And after several tries of going through different supplements, it cut that number in half. And I'm like, there is really something to this. I'm a believer now. So just the extra puzzle piece, I guess, that the functional evaluation provides kind of made me go in that direction.
And the interesting thing about that functional exam is doctors don't do that.
Well, I mean, you go to the doctor and he presses over here where your gallbladder's. That's Murphy's sign.
Yeah, but he doesn't always know that means you're deficient in some micronutrient.
Right, exactly.
And trying to, make you sufficient in that. He's looking for a prescription medication to cover up that symptom rather than getting it through like a functional, holistic approach, which is what I see NTPs doing. It's magic to me.
So do you feel like that functional evaluation and knowing the LMT and knowing like all those Chapman points and how to do guidelines has helped you communicate with that professional community, such as other clinicians?
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult because a lot of them, I did talk with my physician's assistant when I went in to see her for my annual checkup.
This is a funny story.
Well, yeah, I told her what I was doing and she was really fascinated. She's younger, so she's kind of more into the alternative stuff anyway. But I told her some of the points that I was learning and she kind of looked at me and, she had just done Murphy's sign on me. And I said, "Oh, you're doing Murphy's sign." And she kind of looked at me like, "How do you know that?" And that was a way to kind of open the door for her. But a lot of doctors really don't know these points.
Tell the story about that same young physician assistant, how you were deficient in something and you're like, "Oh, I wonder if it's
So yeah, I mean, I was she did my blood work and I was having some problems with calcium, and I've had a total hysterectomy, so I'm postmenopausal now and due to the surgery. And so I said, well, I wonder if I'm actually deficient in D and K2. Well, I knew my vitamin D was okay, but I wonder if I'm deficient in K2 because I've had a history of bone spurs as well. And she kind of looked at me, she goes, "I don't know, but I'll have to do some research." So, I mean, even she didn't know the connection between calcium and vitamin D and K2.
So an NTP taught a PA something.
Well, I think that's one thing that I love so much about the NTA program is the fact that it's so evidence-based that you feel really secure in going and having these communications with physicians or chiropractors or other practitioners.
Yeah.
So besides the fabulous functional evaluation and learning how to LMT and figure out what kind of supplements your body needs, what else do you feel like people could gain from those in-person workshops?
The in-person workshops, I mean, for me, I was very nervous about going through the Nutritional Therapy Practitioner program just because it had been 20 plus years since I've been in college. And the online thing is nice and all, but I loved the weekend workshops because you got to connect with people, you got to hear their struggles, and we kind of were able to work with each other to kind of figure out each other, and our struggles, and just knowing that somebody else was nervous too, that they were worried about whatever, just having that support in person. There's the support online is different from it being in person. And I think that in-person support and camaraderie goes so much further than actually online support.
And people from all walks of life. I mean, you had very young girls that were fresh out of like going to dietitian school and saying, "Nope, that's not going to work," to all the way to people in their upper. That's all I'm going to say about that. and everybody in between. And I think people think, "Oh, I don't have time for that," or it's too late in life for me. No, I think everybody who goes through that program learns something, even if it's just for their own edification and they never see a client, they will get something out of the program that's valuable.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that also just having that support creates these lifelong relationships that you can either use professionally or you can use personally. There's just nothing like being able to get on the phone and talk to somebody and just spit off terms like Chapman reflexes or glucagon or all these kind of terms and not have to explain it. It's such an incredible feeling.
It is. I agree.
Yeah, so what have you done with your Nutritional Therapy Practitioner certification since you graduated in 2017?
I have been a busy bee. Jimmy's going to show you something right now. This was birthed out of me going through the program, and I just felt like so many people are struggling in their walk. No matter what diet you do, so many people are still struggling, and they don't know why. And so, I'm like, I've got to share my personal testimony, and I've got to get some of this information out there that can help people. And so, the book, Real Food Keto, was born out of that. I have been seeing clients, just starting to get that business going because most of last year was spent writing that book.
What's the business called?
My business is Rebooting Your Nutrition, and I have the website, rebootingyournutrition.com. I also have been able to speak at 3 or 4 different conferences. I mean,
Yep.
It's amazing. And if you knew me in college, I was the one that took public speaking the very last, credit that I would get because I hated it. And now, if you told me that I would be giving talks later in life, I'd be like, yeah, right. No, because I want to throw up every time I get up on stage.
And we've done 60 podcast interviews. This woman is amazing. And to think just 2 years ago, she didn't have any of this knowledge. And now she's like, prostaglandin, duodenum, cholecystokinin. It's amazing.
It is funny. Turnabout's fair play. I listened to you talking about.
Yeah, she heard me for years.
But I also do a podcast with Jimmy, Nutritional Pearls Podcast, and that airs every Monday. So, yeah, I'm very busy. And, oftentimes I have people, I just had someone write to me today, what can you do with this after you get your certification? And well, that's just a few things you can do. What can't
you do? Right.
Yeah. I mean, the doors are wide open.
I know. I think that there's so many amazing things that nutritional therapy practitioners are doing out there. We do have a question, and somebody's wondering how manageable it is for a full-time working mom of 2 toddlers. And if there are any steps that somebody could take to get a head start if they were going to do the NTP program so they could get a little bit of a leg up beforehand.
Get all the recommended reading and start now.
Yeah, that's what I did. I had a list of all the recommended reading, and I started ahead of time before the program started. I think I started the beginning of January just to kind of get a heads up because it is a lot of reading. But the good thing is that you can set your own schedule as far as studying. And I think that was one thing that I had to adjust to because I was used to the classroom setting and I was used to that environment. So having to do it on my own time was a little bit of an adjustment, but I kind of like it better now doing it that way because if something came up, I could put my studying off until a later time during the day. It's very flexible. So, and as Jimmy was saying in our class, we had a variety of people who had full-time jobs with multiple children. We had in retirement. I mean, so it just takes, if you are busy, it takes a little bit of discipline to set aside that time and try to do that every week so you don't get behind.
Well, and I saw with you, there was an ebb and flow. So there was some weeks it was just super duper busy.
Yeah.
You had a book report to turn in, you had this lesson and that lesson. And then other weeks it was like, okay, one little lesson. So you don't have like intense workload every single week. It kind of ebbs and flows.
I mean, we had book reports, often, but I think what happened was some of the material I was a little bit more familiar with. So the modules on the immune system, that was a little bit harder. There's certain modules that were a
Digestion.
little bit more more dense as far as material goes, and that was the times that
Did you say you felt dense going through that?
I did. Those were the times where you heard me playing the videos 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, when I heard Greg Graham repeating himself, I knew we were in trouble because she was listening multiple times.
Yeah.
Love you, Greg.
Well, I agree. I think getting the leg up on the reading is huge. When I went through the program, my kids were 11 and 9 years old, and I worked full-time as a 911 dispatcher. And I think the in-person workshops were my saving grace because I was able to connect with others, form study groups. I didn't have any background in things like blood sugar and so be able to get the extra help from some of the group leaders, that was a huge saving grace for me. I think it would have been more of a challenge for me to do the whole thing online. So to have those in-person workshops was a big deal.
Absolutely.
So we are all in South Carolina, and I know that we all have the same heart that we want to be able to help our fellow Southerners get a little bit healthier, which is why we're so excited that there's an NTP class in Charleston, there's another one in Asheville, I think there's one in Tampa. So we're coming into the South. So tell me what you'd like to see in the South. How can we get out there and encourage more people to better their lives and better the lives of their neighbors?
I would think that because the South has been long known as kind of the obesity capital of America, now more than ever, we need nutritional therapists to kind of cover the South because we love our food down here and we have certain cultural things with food, but it doesn't have to be unhealthy. You can keep the culture and clean up the diet. And I think the Nutritional Therapy Practitioner program certainly shows you how to do that.
Yeah, and even me as a nutritional therapy practitioner, it's kind of overwhelming just thinking about trying to get this information out to everybody. I would encourage those who are already NTPs and in the South just to go out in your community and give talks, get this information out there because there's just a lack of knowledge, and it kind of just breaks my heart even to see some of my loved ones go through certain health issues. And, I try to talk to them. And fortunately, my dad, being one of them, is very open. He's doing the ketogenic diet now, and that's helped him with several things. But he still just has a propensity to go along with mainstream medicine, and that may not necessarily be the best choice for certain situations. And so just get out there in your community and start teaching this stuff.
Well, and be confident that you have knowledge to share that's worthy of being shared. Because once you're trained by the NTA, you have all the knowledge. Now it's just your responsibility to take it and run with it.
And that's one thing that we were told when we were at our graduation. We have all the information we need to start making a difference now, but it's a constant learning process. I'm still, if I have a question about something, I'll look it up. I mean, I'm just now starting to learn more about histamine intolerances and the alkalinity and acidity of the body as far as the blood goes and things you can do about that. So it's a constant learning process. So know that, like Jimmy said, you're right where you need to be at this point. You have enough knowledge to make a difference. You already know more than a lot of people out there, so pass that information on.
And do you feel a year and a half later that you did know enough and that you are able to help people and that you were confidently able to write that book and make a difference in people's lives?
To be honest, I still struggle with confidence, don't I?
The lack of confidence in that answer says everything you need to know.
I mean, I think we're all that way to some extent.
We're breaking her out of her shell.
Yeah.
I think regularly going on other people's podcasts and doing our own podcast and writing a book and getting out there doing book signings, all of those things are making you more and more confident. And some people aren't naturally. I've always been naturally out there, vocal and able to, be confident in everything that I do, but you're finding your voice.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yep.
Well, your book is so well written, and I feel confident as a fellow nutritional therapy practitioner recommending it to other people, and just really feel blown away about the amount of knowledge that you put in that book. So good job, Christine.
Thank you. It was, I tell you, it was frustrating at points because I would be writing and then I'm like, oh, I want to add this to the book. I want to add this. And so even now I'm constantly, I wish we'd put this in the book. I wish we'd put this in the book, but the book can't be like huge.
You're learning the process. You just let it be.
Yep.
That's awesome. So I have to share this comment. Somebody really wanted to express their thanks to you guys because Jimmy, you helped them lose 135 pounds in a year, and Christine, you have motivated them to take their newfound love of food, body, and turn it into a career through this program. Y'all are amazing and saving more lives than you'll ever know.
That's
well,
awesome.
That just gives me chills. I'm so proud of the two of you, and to have you in this nutritional therapy practitioner community. It's amazing. And Jenny, your support for NTA and for your wife is just beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably keto-friendly. It's the most keto-friendly program out there. People often ask me, what can I go to get certification, letters after my name that will make a difference? I said, well, you can hold your nose and go through the MD or functional medicine practitioner. Yeah, but if you want to get good knowledge in a short amount of time that's going to be useful and helpful for a lot of people, go become an NTP or an NTC.
Yeah, for sure. And it is a lot of work, but the beautiful thing about it is the support that the instructors in the NTA, the group leaders, your assistant instructors that they provide, it makes it doable for all walks of life, whether you're working full-time or whether you're a parent or no matter where you are, what your background is, the NTA program is really, truly for just anybody.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time. Do you have any words of wisdom for anybody who is on that cliff of wondering if they should sign up and join our Southern NTP classes?
Can I rap?
I would say just do it. I mean, not to steal a catchphrase, but just do it. I mean, because the longer you put it off, you could be making a difference in somebody else's lives. I mean, just to think about the reach that I have now, it's very humbling, and I mean, even to help my own family members.
Yeah.
Just get out there and do it.
And shout out to Gray Graham. I see he's watching this right now. Gray, we love you. You're doing an
Yes.
amazing job. Thank you so much for your leadership in this arena. Let's go change the world.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being on. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to comment in the notes or go ahead and you can always contact the Nutritional Therapy Association. Everything is on their website and on this Facebook page. And y'all have a good afternoon.
Bye.
We're still live.
All right.